A young nun pens a letter divulging a secret she has kept since childhood. But the Vatican fears the letter's explosive contents would shock the world and keeps it locked away for nearly 50 years. Were we warned nearly a century ago that if we did not change our ways, we were doomed? If so, who heard the warning? And who warned us? For thousands of years, prophets around the world have predicted the end of days. More than one suggests the apocalypse is fast approaching. We call this theoretical convergence between doomsday prophecies and today's events the Nostradamus effect. 1917, just outside the village of Fatima, Portugal. 3 shepherd children claim to experience visions of the Virgin Mary. According to legend, the apparition shared with them 3 cryptic secrets about mankind's dark future. Shrouded in mystery for 83 years, the final part of the prophecy may have foretold the ultimate cataclysm. A nuclear World War III, unfolding in our lifetime.
There was much speculation on this secret. What is behind it? Why is it not revealed? Will it speak about the end of the world?
This secret had to do with things that are so devastating that it would be the end of the world as we know it today.
We will examine whether the 3 secrets of Fatima are linked with actual events in our turbulent past, and if the 3rd and final prophecy depicts a future world smoldering from the flames of a 3rd World War. If other prophecies intersect with this theory, this may be evidence of the Nostradamus effect. Spring 1917, as World War I raged, bloodshed, disease, and death overwhelmed Europe. In these darkest of times emerged reports of a message, perhaps delivered by an emissary from God.
People, they were aware that something happened there, something supernatural.
On May 13th, 10-year-old Lucia Santos and her younger cousins Jacinta and Francisco Marto were walking along a meadow. According to their account, suddenly there was a blinding light. A heavenly figure on a cloud appeared before them. Lucia recalled it was
a lady clothed in white, brighter than the sun.
They asked, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm Our Lady." "And where do you come from?" "Well, I come from heaven." "And then, what do you want?" "I want you to come here every 13th of the month." And so, from May to October, always on the 13th of each month, Our Lady gave them an important message.
According to believers, at the heart of this message was a warning that humanity has angered God with its sinful ways, and the punishment will be war and annihilation. The 3 children were convinced that if they returned to the meadow on the 13th of each month, Mary promised to reveal how mankind might be redeemed. The children agreed to return to receive her instructions. According to the story, after Mary's first visit, Lucia decided they would keep it a secret. But the younger Jacinta couldn't contain her excitement. She told her mother, and soon word began to circulate. Despite deep religious traditions within the town, many were doubtful of the children's story.
Once the word started to spread around, the majority of people just dismissed it as a childhood fantasy.
But even under intense interrogation, the children's individual accounts were unusually consistent, each vividly recalling minute details of the encounter. Uncommon for children of such a young age.
They kept always faithful to the same version of the facts, and so that made also people to believe that why were these little kids sometimes even threatened to death to confess, why would they keep telling this if it was not true?
The following month, a few dozen villagers accompanied the children to the meadow to see if the Virgin Mary would appear as promised. According to later reports, Some came to discredit the children. Many more truly wanted to believe. But all they saw was the children go into a trance during the supposed apparition of Mary. Still, as the weeks passed, interest intensified.
So the crowds grew, and there were more and more people who believed each time, even though they saw nothing.
According to the children, on July 13, 1917, the date of the third reported visit, Mary fulfilled her promise to reveal how mankind has sinned, how we might be redeemed, and the horrors that loomed if we instead chose to continue offending God. She supposedly told the children 3 secret prophecies, which they were not to disclose to anyone until the time was right. This revelation would wait decades. But Lucia knew that when the right time did come, no one would believe the message unless there was undeniable proof that it was heaven sent.
The children said to the Blessed Mother, "We're trying to get people to believe us, but we're having a lot of difficulty." And the Blessed Mother said, "On October 13th, around 12 o'clock, I will perform a miracle for all to see."
On that very day, the date of the apparition's final visit, reports suggest that as many as 70,000 rain-soaked people from all over Portugal stood in muddy fields and claimed to have witnessed what became known as the miracle of the sun.
The way my grandfather described it, the skies opened and there was the sun. Beautiful, wonderful colors. It was like dancing. That was the way he described it. The sun was dancing all around. Some people thought it was the end of the world.
For miles around, people saw this stupendous sign in the sky. It was seen by about another 15,000 or so in the periphery for about 20 miles in each direction. I mean, they weren't all drinking. You know, it would have taken something catastrophic to account for everybody having a mass hysteria like that.
There is no photographic evidence of the supposed apparition, and most experts agree that a zigzagging sun is simply not possible, citing the physical laws of the universe.
From a scientific perspective, I can tell you that physically did not happen. The sun did not change its rotation rate. It didn't change its position anyway, because if that had happened, all life on planet Earth would have been immediately driven to extinction. I don't deny their experience. I'm denying their interpretation of the experience.
Still, the Vatican, the world's preeminent Catholic institution, maintains to this day a clear position on the dramatic events that transpired that rainy Saturday afternoon.
The Church is extremely careful when it determines whether or not there is any reason to believe that an apparition truly took place. And they do an extremely thorough examination to protect their credibility. The miracle of the sun that took place on October 13th in 1917 was such a profound miracle, witnessed by 70,000 people. The Church believes was a matter of divine intervention. The Church accepts this as a miracle.
A year after the reported apparitions occurred, an influenza epidemic swept through Europe. The 2 youngest shepherd children later succumbed to the illness, never having uttered a word of the secret prophecies. But the eldest child, Lucia, survived, and several years later joined a convent. But it wasn't until her 1941 memoir that Sister Lucia finally felt it was the right time to reveal the full contents of the so-called first secret.
Our Lady showed us a great sea of fire, which seemed to be under the earth. Plunged in this fire were demons and souls in human form, like transparent burning embers, all blackened or burnished bronze, amid shrieks and groans of pain and despair.
Our Lady was telling us we're all going to encounter death and judgment if we live bad lives, sinful, and die outside of God's grace, offending Him. We will be lost. And I think that was the reason why God allowed the little children to see hell.
According to Lucia's account, the frightening images of hell revealed to the children are remarkably similar to the description of hell in the Bible's contentious book of Revelation.